Okay, this is part 3 of a 4-part series of videos and about getting the money out of our political system. If you haven't watched the other two first, I would recommend that you watch them in sequence. This thing will make a whole lot more sense to you if you do. One of the objections that I've heard to my idea and my plan is that this is a vast circumvention of the balance of powers between our various branches of government. And it is. It is, in fact, that if we try to force Congress to do something, if the president tries to do that, actually, the truth of the matter is nobody can force anyone in Congress to do anything. That's just the way that it is. But when this president comes into office, everyone will know that they ran on the promise that they would veto every bill that comes across their desk, with the exception of those few bills, and then just enough to keep the federal government running at the level at which it's run right now. So there is no other agenda, just in getting the money out. So it's that, and there's also other pressure that can be brought upon various congresspersons. Say, for example, if the congresspersons knew that they were going to be videotaped in a one-on-one conversation with this new president, discussing the various bills and their beliefs about those bills, and then that those conversations would be posted on a website for all the public to see, how cooperative or uncooperative do you think that they would be? Many of them may try to resist going on camera for this, but that wouldn't be an option with this new president. No, we're either going to do this in public and everybody's going to see what you believe and what you're willing to support, or they won't. They'll see you refuse to do it. And then your refusal to go on camera and refusal to discuss this will be a matter of public record as well. So that would make it very difficult, and it would certainly, I think, would enlist a lot of Congress people's cooperation. I seriously believe that the Congress people are not all corrupt. They're just like us. They are corruptible, and they don't see, in many cases, what they're doing as corruption. I think many of them want an excuse for doing this because they would like to get out from underneath this pressure of having to run these political campaigns and always be looking for money and that sort of thing. So I think many of them would go along with it, particularly if they had an incentive. One of the questions that comes up from time to time is, why don't you run this as a third party or that sort of thing? Well, it's because a third party is not needed, and a party connotes the implementation of other ideas. When a thing becomes a party, then other people want to add things to it. And when that happens, it dilutes the base of those who would vote for this idea. No, it has to be a single issue, one that people across the political spectrum could vote for with a surety that it's only this one issue that would be taken up. There are some candidates who are running who are talking about this issue, but there is no candidate that has a plan for implementing it. And this plan will not get done. Congress will not voluntarily do this, I do not believe. But if I'm wrong about that, if Congress would do this, I'd be happy to drop this whole plan immediately if they would pass these bills. Not just the constitutional amendment banning money in the federal elections, but the one closing the revolving door as well. There's been some other talk about, well, the way that we could fix this is to promote transparency. And there are some bills that are promoting that. I heard an analogy from Lawrence Lessig that I thought was great. You remember when we had the Gulf oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico when that oil well drilling platform exploded? You remember that at the bottom of the ocean floor was a camera, and on that camera you could see the oil spewing out into the Gulf? Well, that's like transparency. I mean, it was something to sit there and watch that oil spilling out into the Gulf of Mexico, and we knew it. We could see it. We could visualize it. And knowing it, what did that do for you? What were you able to change with that? Nothing. That's what transparency is like. Oh, so it's transparent. You know who's giving what to whom then. How is that going to change anything? It's not. It's not going to change anything. So it's not just transparency. It's the whole system that needs to be changed. We're going to have more information on our website at markcubanforpresident.com. That's the number 4, not FOR. So I would invite you to go there. Part 4 of this series will discuss why I think Mark Cuban is that person to run for president and why he can pull this off. Again, you have my permission to download this and post this on your YouTube site because I don't know how long YouTube will leave this up. Thank you for your attention.